Hey, what's up everyone? This is Portugal here, and today before the video starts, firstly, we're here again with the aquarium, which means get ready for a little bit of a fish video with your boy. Now, first of all, I want to show you how clean the water is in my aquarium, and before you see, you say, well, that's just normal water. It is, but it's perfectly clear. And this aquarium has not had a water change in about a month. I mean, it'll be a month in 2 days. And also, they've just been fed, that's why there are a little bit of floating particles around. Now, let's understand how you can get the most rewards out of your aquarium hobby with the least amount of effort put into it. Now, that's not to say you should not have any effort to your hobby. That's not what I mean at all. You should put all the effort into this hobby as you possibly can. But keep in mind that the more you don't have to do, and the more you can appreciate the fishes while not having to do that much work, the better the hobby is, right? So today I'll teach you how to do the least amount of water changes and how to keep your fish healthy and your water crystal clear for the longest amount of time. To understand all that, you must learn a little bit about the nitrogen cycle, filtration, and then water changes. Okay? So, the nitrogen cycle consists of the cycle that goes ammonia, nitrite, nitrate. It's not a cycle. I do not understand why it's called a cycle. It's not a circle. It does not go around. Nitrate never goes back to ammonia, okay? Well, what happens is in this linear system of nitrogen is that your fish are living creatures, and as such they produce waste. And the byproduct of that waste is very toxic compounds, and among them is ammonia, right? Ammonia is very toxic. It takes just a little bit to kill a lot of fish. But with some bacteria, which we'll get to in a bit, you can turn ammonia into nitrite, and nitrite is also toxic. Very toxic. Not as much as ammonia, but still very toxic. And with a little bit more of some bacteria, you'll be able to turn nitrite into nitrate, right? And with nitrate, you can keep your fish alive for longer. Basically, it takes a very big concentration of nitrate with an A, to kill your fish, right? So what you want to do in filtration is have enough filtration so that every single bit of ammonia is turned into nitrate, okay? Going through nitrite, of course. In order to do that, you have to have an understanding of how filtration works. So first of all, always do sumps. If you can choose, always build a sump. It's always better. Unless you have a planted tank. Maybe in that case you want to do a canister because it doesn't do a sump, always. Basically, what you want to have is enough porous material, because this bacteria, the bacteria that I was talking about, lives in every surface, right? The more surface area you have, the more bacteria you can house, right? If you have something that's flat like that, it takes a whole arm's length to get from here to here. So this space, and you can only grow 1 arm's length of bacteria in 1 arm's length of space, right? But if you turn it like that, or if you poke some holes in it, you can grow a whole length of arm of bacteria in just that amount of space, right? This is a very weird visualization, but basically everyone understands how porous materials have more area, I guess. So what people call biological filtered media is just porous materials where bacteria can grow. So all that expensive stuff you buy at the aquarium store is waste of money. You can find porous materials as porous as that for a lot cheaper prices. Okay, and I'll maybe teach you how to set up a proper filter for as cheap as you possibly can.
And just a note, canister filters, they have way too little. They waste a lot of space, so you may wanna, you know, change some of that plastic stuff and some of the sponges to biological media. Just saying. So once you're at a spot where you have enough filtration so that every bit of ammonia is turned into nitrate, everything more that filtrates biologically is completely pointless and a waste. Okay, a waste of space, of electricity, money, I don't know, oxygen, whatever. So once you're at that point, you don't need any more filtration. And then all that you need to care about is that nitrate that you're left with, right? And to take that out, you need to change the water. In the wild, fish live in oceans, rivers, or lakes. And in the ocean and in the lake, that nitrate and nitrite and even ammonia, because there's not as much bacteria as in a concentrated canister, that is all diluted to the space and the amount of water that is in the river, that is carried away to a space where it is diluted, the ocean or a lake. But in your aquarium it has nowhere to go to, so you must simulate the flow of the river by changing the water, you know, taking bad water out, putting new water in. And when you do that, you throw away some of the nitrate. You also throw away some of the bacteria that lives on the glass, because you have to lower the water level. And if you lower it enough to uncover rocks, you can kill a lot of bacteria doing that. So when you do change the water, make sure you do only like 30%. You can see I'd say that's 30% of my aquarium. And I usually do that a little bit more. You see that line there of the algae? That's where I usually drop the water to. I don't know if the algae is there because I dropped the water to there, or if I dropped the water there because that's where the algae grows. I don't know. But basically, now that you know how and when you need to do water changes, well, you don't know when. You still don't know when. You know when by measuring the amount of nitrate, right? You can have those test kits and measure it, and when it's, you know, the caution level, you change it. And the trick is to get to that caution level as slow as possible, right? So the more fish you have, the more active and big the fish are, the more ammonia they'll produce, the more nitrate you'll have. Okay, so and that, in, you know, mixed up with how big your tank is, will mean how much time it takes between water changes. Basically, if you have very active fish, it'll be very fast between water changes and stuff like that. There is a trick, however, because if you take care of it and if you monitor closely the levels of nitrate. I did that to this tank and I could not ever go a single week without changing the water because there are far too many and too much active fish in here. But then I started to mess around with some stuff and I found a way to change the water only like once a month, and that takes that thing over there. That is a little put on take off filter, right? I'll let it focus on that. And there you go. The fish are all scared because I got up. And that right there is the salvation of anyone who'd be in need for some time. Instead of changing the water so often, you can, everyone who tells you that they have a way around changing the water so often, it's always a way that consists with dealing with nitrates, right? So you plant it, you get plants in there to take out the nitrate and the ammonia and whatever. I mean, yeah, that's cool and all, but I cannot have plants with these guys. But I can do one thing, which consists in a very, very specific factor, which is your fish, they do not create ammonia. They create poop. And poop releases ammonia. If you can take the poop out as soon as it gets out of your fish's butt, you never have to do water changes. there's a problem, right? You cannot hook up a tube to every single butt or you have in the aquarium, right? I have, what, 30 assholes in here? I cannot hook up a tube to 30 assholes, right? So what I can do is, after they're done eating and pooping consequentially, I take the poop out. And how do I do that? Well, I have 3 pumps inside of this. 2 of them are in the filters, right? I have 2 filters, each of them has a single pump. And then I have this big boy right here, which is the strongest pump in the aquarium, which is where you want to install this put on, take off filter. Now, mine consists of a simple plastic bottle and some net, some elastic rubber bands, and that thing, that dirt looking thing, that brown, that disgusting piece of garbage in there, that's the glass wool or glass fiber that is usually used as a, how you say, you usually call that physical filtration media or something like that. You use that because it's very good at taking fine particles that are not actually molecules out of the water, which means it's very good at taking out poop and food waste. Food waste also creates ammonia, by the way. Everything that's living or byproduct of living and is decaying but produces ammonia. So I put that on the filter about an hour every time I feed, which is 2 times a day. That runs, well, the pump runs 24/7. The filter is only in there 1 hour, 2 hours each day, and they're separate, right? Which means that everything that it gobbles up stays in the aquarium as little time as possible, right? 1 hour is enough for it to gobble up everything that's in here, and enough time for the fish to eat and poop and do whatever they want, right? So I gobble up everything and I throw it away. What that does is, instead of having an increased amount of well, you know how acceleration is basically the amount of velocity that changes during the time, right? So that it will be the square of the distance. The amount of distance you cover in the same time will be squared due to acceleration. That's basically what happens here. You know, the more waste, the more ammonia is produced every second, every hour, whatever. So if you take the waste out, instead of you having a graph that goes like that for your ammonia spiking, you have a graph that goes like that. Then of course you have filtration, so you never see this nor this. You don't see it because you have a good filtration, because you're a good fish keeper. But what I want to do is have something that goes like that, right? Instead of going like that and spiking up, I have something that goes like that, and the how much it increases depends on how often you do this and take everything out, right? So basically, this does it so that ammonia is created in a very slow and controlled manner, and that way what I can have is, first of all, I could afford a smaller filterage capacity. You know, I do not need 2 filters, I just feel safer with 2 filters, and I already had 2 filters, so I don't care about my 2 filters, leave me alone. I do care that they're canisters, I hate them for it. And I hate, you know, that it's, I'll tell you, it's Jared and Jeb, okay? I hate Jared, I kinda like Jeb, but I hate them both, because they're canisters, they're not sumps. I cannot install a sump in this, and I also hate this for it. I hate this wooden box, this wardrobe over here that came with the aquarium. I hate it. I hate it. Take it up. So if you do everything that I've told you, if you monitor and you know what you're doing, you can achieve a state where even with no plants and very active fish, you can have an aquarium that only requires water change about once every month. Okay? I do think someone with my setup and my current state of things could go a little bit further. I would say I would be able to spend about 2 months without water changes, but I don't want to try it. okay? I don't want any ammonia burns on my fishes. Okay, so just a little bit of a resume of everything. When you start out, when you set up an aquarium, you have to do it carefully, all right? Here's my like final golden rule, golden tip, you know, whatever you want to call it. Start out with caution. Start out by cycling an aquarium properly. Get all the bacteria up in there. Then you put in the fish, the decoration, you do whatever you want to, have all that fun, right? That's a lot of fun. It's always a lot of fun. And then you keep it to a once or probably a twice a week water change, and you do that for a month, right? There is no way, if you have enough filtration, that you'll ever see ammonia burn or nitrite poisoning in that time. Then you spend another 2 or 3 months doing once a week water change. Then you do 2 weeks, 1 water change, 3 weeks, 1 water change. Then maybe you can go to the month, 1 water change. Keep in mind, do that. Please, do that. You see, you know, Jared and Jeb, I hate them, right? They're the worst filters ever. And little Timmy, no, I cannot call it Timmy. I'll call it Timmy. This is little Timmy, you know, the little filter, the one that everyone jokes about the size of, right? Little Timmy saves me 3 water changes a month. Little Timmy is the greatest, right? Give some off to little Timmy, okay? Get yourself a little Timmy. Never do once a week water changes again because of Timmy. Okay, I'll call the video Timmy. No, I can't do that. I want people to watch it. Well, you know, I hope you understand now everything you need to understand about this. Okay, I hope you can have a crystal clear water, because that little Timmy also makes it so that all these guys who are very messy eaters do not clog up the water ever, because little Timmy is the best. Okay, now, go ahead, get yourself a little Timmy, never do water changes again. See you later.